Welcome to Aligned and Alive, where we move beyond the surface and into your deep knowing. I'm Shyane Montgomery, and this is your space to trust your intuition, clear what no longer serves, and rise into your highest self. Your wisdom is already within. You're here to remember. Welcome back to another episode of Aligned and Alive. There are moments in life where what you've always believed starts to feel different, not necessarily wrong, but no longer fully true in your body. And no one really prepares you for that. Not the quiet questions, not the tension between what you've been taught and what you're starting to feel, not the space in between where you're no longer who you were, but not quite sure who you're becoming. Today's conversation is for that space, for the ones who have felt doubt and didn't know if they were allowed to, for the ones who have outgrown something and wondered if that meant they were losing their way, and for the ones who are starting to realize that maybe faith was never meant to be something you perform, but something you experience. I'm sitting down with Trisha Biesinger, author of The God We Never Knew. And we're exploring what happens when your understanding of God begins to shift from something external to something deeply personal. This isn't a conversation about having the right answers. It's about asking better questions. It's about listening beyond the noise, beyond the rules, and beyond the fear. So wherever you are right now, whether you feel grounded in your faith or like something is being unraveled, just take a breath. You don't need to have it all figured out to be here. Let's jump in. Hi, Trisha. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today.
I am beyond thrilled. I'm so grateful you asked me to talk to you because I love so much about you. With the little that I know, I love. So I'm so excited.
Well, it's so fun how God places people in our life. And the way that Trisha and I met was January 25 in Arizona.
Yes.
Yeah, at Success Codes with our book publisher, Kira Brenton. And that's where we met. Did you feel like I've got to write a book, or did you just get the invitation and then you stepped into it? How did it look for you in the very beginning?
Yes. So Cheyenne and I both wrote our books with Kira Brenton on book adventures. So 3 authors and then 1 medium, which is Kira. But we went at separate times. So when I went to write my book, the thing about me is that I never had the thought, like, I want to be an author. When I was growing up, I was very athletic. I kind of would like make fun of books and like kind of cheat on book reports because I'm like, oh, who has time to read? Like, I just wanted to play and be outside and socialize. And so never was reading something that I or writing or being an author was something I identified with, which makes it so interesting because when people say you wrote a book, like it's still, my body's like, no, I didn't. And then I'm like, wait, I did. It's so weird because it's just so, it was outside of like who I thought I was and my identity and books in general and all the things. So how it came to be super quick is I'm a coach and I work with Jody Moore. I'm one of the coaches on her website. So if you've heard of Jody Moore, that's similar to what I do, like life coaching. And I did her, what would you call it? Advanced coach training. So I got to know Jody, and Jody wrote a book with Kira. And I was like, what is this? This feels magical. Like she just super like quickly explained it. Like I wrote a book really quick because I worked with a medium and she kind of connects you with like your highest self and God. And it can come, like the message can come through really easy. And I was like, oh, I love easy. And I love that. And so I started following Kira and watching. She had just started the book Adventures and I was riveted. And it wasn't about like, I need to write a book. I just was fascinated with the process. I was fascinated with a message coming through somebody. I was fascinated with God being so available in that way, and that you didn't have to do all of these somersaults and backflips and certain rules.
Mhm.
So it felt free to me. And I have learned that freedom is one of like my highest like priorities. And it drew me in because of the freedom and the expansiveness, the openness and the play. And
Mm.
I didn't think those two things could go together. I didn't think you could be an author and receive a message from God and play and receive. Like it just felt like I have to experience that to know what that is like more than I need to write a book, if that makes sense.
100%.
So I just watched every author go and I was like, I don't know what book I'll write, but I have to do that. I have to experience that. And I'd coached many, many women and people and heard stories. And I had something I would love to share to the world, but I always thought I had to do that like one by one
Okay.
client at a time. So I think the idea of writing a book also was like, oh my gosh, I could put this all in one place and maybe more people could get it. And so kind of those things is what. But what about you? Because I don't know what drew you to the experience either.
Well, I don't really either. I think it was a 100% God thing because I was thinking about this. Like, I always struggled in English. I was taking night classes at a community college, and I would work so hard on my papers. And my spouse at the time, he would come home and he would whip up something just super fast and not put any heart into it. And he would pull A's, and I would pull like C's or D's
Mm,
in my English class. And so when I felt like I needed to write a book,
yeah.
my mind was like, who do you think you are writing a book? But I couldn't deny the way that I was led to the experience because I had felt called to Costa Rica about 3 years before. And I knew it wasn't for plant medicine. This is what's interesting. I got to go to Costa Rica. And I actually tried to do a yoga retreat there in like 3 years prior. I sunk into fear and I
Mm,
was like, I can't go because what if I get COVID and then I can't be with my kids on Christmas? So I didn't end up going to Costa Rica at that point in time. And then I had this money in my bank account that I kept trying to invest. I just kept trying to invest this money and it wouldn't leave my bank account. Now, do you ever hear that? That
hi.
money won't leave your bank account? It just wasn't flowing.
Wow.
Okay. So then I get an email from Kira that says, join this call. I think she was doing a webinar. I'd hop on the call and she's channeling messages for people. And I kind of hopped on a little bit later. So I was letting everyone else take a turn. And then she ends up extending the time. Would anyone else like a message channeled? Raise my little virtual hand on the webinar. And she's like, okay, Cheyenne, how do I know you? Oh, Kira, yeah. I wanted to join your mastermind a year ago, but my best friend talked me out of it. And so I never joined. But that's how she had me on her email list that I could even be on the webinar. Okay. So she
Oh
channels
my
a message for me. It's the craziest.
I'm
It's
obsessed.
the craziest. So she channels this message for me. And then she says, Cheyenne, Costa Rica is coming up for you. And I was like, uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, I'm listening. And she says, hop on a call with Nikita and see if it's a fit. So I have no idea what she's talking about. No idea. I
Oh,
get on the call with Nikita and Nikita says, do you know what about an author adventure? And I was like, no. But I had written out of a mastermind group that I was in prior, I had written down on a desire list to write a book. Don't know where that came from. Okay, so then a couple years later, here I am on this call with Nikita, and she's telling me about an author adventure. And it's in Costa Rica. It's with two other women, and it's the exact price that would not leave my bank account.
no way.
Is that crazy?
Yes. And no. And yes. Because everything, it's like the more I learn about stuff like that, the more I'm like, But that's what's real. Like, all of our mental gymnastics is the crazy part. Like, that's the real stuff. That's the stuff that should make sense, but doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love that. So when
So,
you heard the number, were you like,
well, I was, but in the same sense, I was like, you can't make this shit up.
right, nope, can't.
Because it like the seed had been planted so far before. Like,
Yeah,
who am I to think I would even write a book? But like, I spent a lot of time on that list. It was a 111 desire list. And it's like, if we're talking desire, Trish, we're
mm,
going deeper than our logical mind,
yeah,
right?
yes,
Because my logical mind says, there's no way you should be writing a book. You flunked English. It doesn't make sense. But
yes,
I sat with my list and I was going from a place that was deeper,
yeah,
like a deeper desire.
mm-hmm. And I think even the word desire, there comes with this strange, like, I'm allowed because, like, I'm not really gonna do it. It's like this playground where it's, like, kind of fantasy, and so the brain almost lets you have it 'cause it's like, "You're not gonna do that." So, like, sure, write it down. I don't know. In my don't you feel like it's like
100%.
you can just kind of play and be like, "Oh, that's fun, cute." Anyway, but
Yeah.
the fact that you wrote it down,
Yep.
put that in motion before you even knew it.
Who's willing as a single mom to invest that kind of money if it wasn't like a heart calling or a calling that was bigger than me?
Yeah.
It would be a no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's a large investment.
It is. It really is. And it's not one that you invest thinking like, oh, this will come back tenfold in money. No. I
No.
mean, how many books you got to sell, right?
Yeah, it's definitely not the plan to get rich for sure. It's like you got to be a little bit delusional and crazy to bear my ever living soul on these pages and put myself basically in front of everyone naked.
I have said those exact words.
Yeah. It's definitely a God thing. This was not a
Yep.
Shy thinks this is a good idea thing.
Yeah. And it's by no means a brain thing, a logic thing, a sensible thing. Because if you invested that money, you're trying to invest it before that into something that will return you money. And it's like, nope, we're not doing that. Yeah.
But that is what I think has been one of my biggest lessons over the last 5 years, really coming
Mhm.
to know God and this walk and this co-creation with the divine. The more I surrender and let go, everything I desire can be mine, but it's never in the way that I think I'm gonna get it.
Never. Not
Like
even close.
I thought I was raised LDS and I thought that I was going to know God by following the checklist and working my way to heaven.
Yeah, same.
And then, you know, that got shook up. No, let me show you what truth is.
Yeah.
And the whole other part that I didn't know and understand that was one of the hardest experiences of my life, but I came to probably understand more so what you're talking about when you say the God we never knew.
Mhm.
So tell me, can we talk about that?
Yeah, so much good stuff about that.
What was it like and what did you learn through the experience? Like how I'm just curious, what was the message that
Yes.
you got on what you needed to share with people?
So I thought it was interesting that when you were thinking about writing your book, you said, like, who do you think you are to write a book? Because your brain's gathering all the evidence of like, you're not good at English and you didn't get an A and my brain was doing the same thing. So I signed up and paid and then my adventure wasn't for 3 months and I was like, no, because we had just shut down our company, my husband and I, January, like 2 weeks before I was going to invest lots of money into writing a book for someone who didn't really care that I got a book. I just wanted the experience. Like,
Yeah.
once again, nothing made sense. but I couldn't shake it. Like my whole body was like a yes, but my brain was like, this makes no sense. And you should definitely not pay this much money when you don't even like care to be an author, when you've just closed out your business and you don't have an income. So
Yep.
good times. You get it.
I get it.
And then for 3 months, I was like, what have I done? My brain comes online and is like, what are you going to write? And you don't even really like love books. And how many books have you read really in the last 10 years? And you're a mom, you got little kids. You shouldn't spend the time doing that. That's kind of selfish of you. Like all of the things, all the programming, and then the religious programming. I also grew up LDS. And so much of that, it was like twofold. It was like my desire to do it was my soul wanting the freedom and to kind of break the rules and to see if God could work in this way that felt so delicious. And like the wonder of it, but then my programming was like, no, that's not going to work because you're not doing it the right way. And you're
Yeah.
not going to the church and you're not asking the bishop and you're not going with the prophet. And you're not even reading the scriptures that much, and your prayers are kind of strange right now, and like you're just breaking all the rules. And so it was like, can God talk to me? Would God talk to me? Like I was so petrified that because I wasn't living the LDS perfectly, God was going to be so silent, because I'd learned that my whole life. Like you have to earn it, and it is very strict. And for you to earn revelation, or for you to even just earn an answer to prayer, you
Ugh.
got to be doing all the things. You got to be doing all the things. You can't just get that. And you definitely can't not be doing the things and get an answer to prayer. So are you going to get 300 pages of an answer to prayer? No. Like my brain's like, that does the equation is not equating that this
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
But my soul was like, but maybe. And if it did, my whole life would change. Do you know what I mean? Like if it worked, it would blow up a lot of those constraints and
Yeah.
scarcity and all the things. And I like needed to know. And so when I got to the book adventure, yes, I am a coach, and there's so much I wanted to write about coaching and mindset, because that is my thing. I graduated in psychology. I've done all these coaching trainings and with Jody Moore, and she's incredible, and all these things. And I was like, I have so much I can say on mindset and thoughts. And I've watched people coach for years and watch hundreds of people change their life with their mindsets. That is my fallback plan if God goes silent because I'm not worthy. I'll use my
Ugh.
brain to write it. So I was like kind of going into it with that, like either I surrender, but what if God doesn't show up? Then I'll just write what I know.
Yeah.
And so my book was going to be called Who Do You Think You Are? So when you said that, I was like, for months leading up to the book adventure, I was like, it's going to be Who Do You Think You Are? Because so many women, like who they think they are, their thinking
Yeah.
about who they are gets in the way. And they
Oh,
allow abuse, and they allow, oh, like they don't know who they are, but the thoughts that they're not enough, and the thoughts that they have to rely on somebody else for the answer, and the thoughts that they have to ask permission, and the thought, right? And it was like, it's who we think we are is exactly what we show up as. And that's my passion. That's my coaching. That's I love it. Right. So I was like, I could fall back on that. But I get to the adventure with two other women. They knew what book they were going to write. They had already started it. They knew exactly, like they loved books. They loved reading. They wanted to write a book. They want to be an author. And I was like, no.
yeah.
I am in the wrong place. I should not have come here.
Yep.
Like, I don't have a sentence written. I don't, I just, I was panicking the night before. It's like everyone's going to bed. And I tell one of the women, I was like, I actually don't know if I'll write a book here. I will cheer you guys on. I'm a really good coach. I will be the cheerleader, and I'll write like a children's book. And she was like, what are you talking about? You paid thousands of dollars to write a book. I'm like, yeah, but I don't actually have a book like you guys do. And I kind of just came to see if God could talk to me. And she's like, what?
Isn't it so it's so interesting to watch how our mind just really tries to keep us safe.
Wow. It is a battle of the lifetime.
Okay, so what happened next?
So she's like, don't doubt yourself. Like, you're going to write a book. Like, so I'm trying to find ways out. But really, what the doubt was God's not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
He's going to talk, or God, she, he, I don't know, they is going to speak to these other women. Cause my whole life, I always thought that, like, of course, someone else could get it out. Of course, I don't know if that's the religious conditioning, but there's something about, but not me.
Yeah.
Because we can see our own flaws or faults, or we can see all the little pieces. But in other people, we don't see that. So we're like, well, you're good enough. But
Yeah.
I'm not because I woke up late or I, whatever, right?
Yes.
so, so the next morning, I just was like, okay, I'm already here. For some reason that makes no sense. So maybe I just had to go on maybes the whole time. I'm just going to play full out. I'm going to surrender it all. I'm going to allow. I'm going to trust because I'm already here. So,
Yeah.
brain, you're going to have to just deal with this not making sense. So, the first day, we did our practices and we dropped in and we blessed our body. And these practices that I didn't do growing up to connect with God, different kinds of practices. And it was delicious and it was free. And we called in our guides and we were like, angels, help us. And I was like, I love this. I love this. Like my whole soul was like singing, like, I love connecting this way. We were sitting on the grass, we were barefoot, we were laying in the sun, the prayer was different. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nature and it's all of the delicious things. And so then Kira sends us off to write. And I open my laptop and I just empty page moment of, can this work? And so I quickly just said, God, help me write a book. Like it wasn't this long prayer of like apologies and repentance and no. It was just, God, can you help me write a book? So simple. And immediately I was in a trance. Like immediately I was a portal. It was instant when I said the words. It's like God didn't even hesitate. Like God wasn't even like, let's let you think for a minute. Let's let you try to type something. It was like I said the words and I was typing as fast as I could type. I was sobbing while I was typing. I couldn't even see what I was saying. I was just on the ride of what was coming through. And I typed straight for like 3 hours. I didn't even move. And I'm sobbing and my fingers are going as fast as they can go. And once there was like a pause, I closed my laptop. I was in the front yard writing and I sobbed on the driveway of this home in Mill Valley, California, gut sobbing because of what came through me and because of the relief that it worked and the relief that God spoke. And I was like, it was just so much to take in. And I didn't know. Right.
It was like
Yeah.
the experience of who you became and knowing that you could co-create with the divine.
That in 3 hours, I changed on a cellular level, like
Yes.
changed. And the sobbing was a release of old patterns, a release of the have to do it a certain way. And the other authors who I was definitely intimidated by because they already know what they're doing, they had written like maybe 8 pages by the end of the day. How much did you write? I don't know, like 20 or 30 pages from the girl that's like, I don't know what I'm going to say. And the way that the divine showed up for me, I'll never forget because it was in freedom and it was in choice and it was in ease. And never, ever, ever did I know that was possible. And so my book, that's why the title transformed from Who Do You Think You Are, where I was going to teach women like how to think of themselves. And there is a lot of that in my book. There's a lot of like delicious mindset, yummy things. But so much of it was this relationship with the God structure that I had breaking down in these pages and a form of divine I never knew showing up for me and showing up quickly and safely and loving in a way that I never knew
That you didn't have to earn.
that I didn't have to earn, which blew my mind. It still blows my mind.
Ugh.
And hence the title shifting to the God we never knew, because I was like, I never knew this one. I never knew it could be like this. And I can't unknow it now.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
wild. Wild.
So it was like this beautiful gift. You saying yes to that experience was this beautiful gift that you got to learn and explore, and then you could share that with other people. So I feel like that's kind of, we hear all the time, God qualifies who he calls. And it's like, are we willing to step into the unknown?
Yeah.
And when we let go of the strategic, logical, linear plan, that's where God meets us in those beautiful, amazing miracles. You were guiding, you were driving the whole time.
Mm-hmm. So wild.
But it takes so much faith.
So much. And a faith is always like kind of told like a faith without works is dead, right? Also, it's just so much like this scarcity of like proving, earning. I never heard it in a sense of surrender. It was always this like tight, proving, pushing, grit type of faith that I can say yes to something my body says no, that I can do hard things, that I can push beyond my energy, that I can people please when I'm dying inside, that I can make a meal for someone when I am on my last ounce of patience or energy or willpower, because I should, because I'm proving that I will say yes. It's like yes to me became like that's how you prove faith. It's like yes to everyone, yes to everything, yes, 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 yes. I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Never did someone say that faith could be surrender.
It's the surrender, because sometimes we have to suffer and then we surrender. But
Yeah.
could we bypass the suffering and just surrender?
Yeah, that.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. And I think the conditioning is if it's not hard, there's no value. If it's
Right.
not hard, it's lazy. And I think too, like feminine energy has been so attacked and it's second class and it's flowy and it's emotional and it's all of these things that the world doesn't run on.
Yeah.
Well, look at the world. How we doing with that? Right? How we doing with kind of condemning and shunning an energy of flow, of intuition, of
Surrender,
peace,
of
of
receiving.
surrender? How we doing, everyone?
Yeah.
And that a lot of my book was of the divine feminine, which has always burned in me, but it's like there's no place for that in my religion growing up, right?
So talk more about that, because this is something that I really feel, but I want to hear you put words to it. What you mean when you say the feminine energy didn't belong in my religion?
Yes. Like in my experience, it's like I was this little girl. I'm a Scorpio. So like I'm deep and I'm passion driven and I think deeply and I feel deeply and there's a lot of things with that. And so I notice a lot of things that maybe others maybe don't, or maybe they do. But for me, growing up in that religion, I was just constantly noticing what I couldn't be, what I couldn't do, what I couldn't have. And the only reason was I was a girl. And I just noticed that all the time. Like I had twin brothers, 3 years older than me. So they're getting the priesthood, which is God's power. And I'm like, okay, me next. Oh, not you though. I'm like, but why? What did I do? Oh, well, you're a girl. End of story. And it's like, wait, I can't even earn it. I can't even try. I can't even, that felt weird. It was like a dam, like can't pass go. You're a girl. So like from the get go, of nothing that you did, you can't have God's power.
So, but did you ever feel like you already had it?
Yeah, that's why it was so frustrating, because it didn't make sense. And then it's like my brothers are doing all these things and they have to go on a mission because they are so important and they have a message. And like, if you don't get married, you could go, I guess, if you have nothing else to do. And I'm like, I don't want to do things, but like it was so kind of condescending and belittling in my experience. And I know that that's not everyone's experience in that religion, but for me, it just was like, it, when you tell me what I can't do and what I can't have, I'm going to notice. It's just going to notice and I'm going to want to know why. And if the
Yeah.
only answer is because I was a girl, it's just not good enough for me. And to your point, like I did feel that. And the moment that it really hit me the hardest, I tried to push past it. I tried to not think about it all my life. I was like, then I'd find myself trying to even be more masculine.
Yeah.
Like I was going to beat all the boys in arm wrestling. I was going to lift weights and beat everyone in soccer. And I did. I beat so many boys in arm wrestles and soccer because it was this internal, like, proving that why can you have and be something I can't? I can be
Yeah.
faster. I can be stronger. Like I had to prove that way. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying
Yeah.
to, people called me a tomboy. I was this tiny little girl. People called me a tomboy because anything good or strong or fast or capable was a boy. And so when I won the game, I was a tomboy. When I beat him in an arm wrestle, I was a tomboy. When I threw the football well, I was a tomboy. And I started to notice that, like, I'm sorry, I'm a girl. I'm very much a girl. I like being a girl. But if I do anything of value, it's a boy? You're calling, my name's not Tom, and I'm not a boy. You know what I mean? So there was a
Wow.
lot
Yeah.
of that in my life. Even my mom would sometimes introduce me like, this is my son and he plays the violin and this is my daughter, and like she'd get to me and I was like, and this is our Trisha and she's a little tomboy. And so I was like, this identity of like being a girl
Wasn't
can't
enough.
have things and do things, and then being a boy is so valuable. And so it really confused me. And then this is the point where it like broke for me. My first pregnancy, I'm 28 years old. I'm pregnant and I get so sick, like hyperemesis, throwing up the whole time, depressed, miserable, barely surviving. I mean, 9 months of hell. And I would go to church and I would sit there with this big belly, barfing, like barely making it, barely hanging on. And I would sit there with my husband. It was Mother's Day, a week before my baby was due. So I am at my wits' ends, big old belly. I'm sitting there, Mother's Day, at church, and they're singing A Child's Prayer, which is all about Heavenly Father, right? And I was like, I used to love that song, but like, here I am. My husband's been fine this whole 9 months. Fine. Love that for him. Also, hard to notice how creation takes place for one person and the other.
Yeah.
And just sitting there and holding my belly and thinking, and no one mentioned that mothers were a creator of life, that mothers were divine, that there was a God that could be a mother, that created us, maybe. And it just came full circle. This moment of like, well, I'm clearly the, can you see where life comes from? Can anyone see me? Like, I'm making this child in the hardest way humanly possible, kind of on my own. And all the credit is going to Father. And I just couldn't handle that because I had sacrificed so much. And it was like, then you birth a baby and you're like, but there's no God that's feminine. There's no God that creates life. That looks like me, that's a mother like me. And I think also it was like a mother's love, like never connecting to that as a child. Because a mother's love feels different than it's just different, right? Different energy. And I was like, no wonder we're all trying to prove and keep rules and keep check marks and keep balances because we think there's only a divine father masculine.
Yeah.
And that's the energy we're pushing for. But what if we had a mother that we literally were like, oh my gosh, she just loves me no matter what? Because
Yeah.
mothers, right? And so all of that was hitting me as I birthed my babies. And every pregnancy, I barfed the whole time. And it just drove it deeper of like, I'm sorry, but like, I feel like there could be a woman in this creation situation. Because how do you think we all got here? That fire in me lit up. So I never felt safe to say that. I never felt safe.
I'm just sitting here thinking the courage it takes to even say that, because how many people feel it,
Hmm.
but will never admit it because it's been programmed like, well, we just know it's, we don't talk about it.
We don't talk. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm going to talk about it because that was hard to create a person. And maybe, and I think too, it just got harder because I'd ask questions like, well, could there be like a mother god? Be like, well, probably, but like we just don't mention that. How many women are told we don't mention a god form that's in their likeness? What does that do to our identity? What does that do to our confidence? What does that do inside of us that we're not mentionable as a divine?
Well, it definitely keeps us not knowing our worth or our divine truth.
Right.
Keep,
Yeah. Yeah. And I told my husband before the book adventure, I was like, if this comes out in my book, because it's always brewed my whole life, but I remember saying to God, I was like, can we just like write a coaching book? Because that feels safe and that will go with my business and that'll be great. But I feel like maybe you might have me speak to this, and that feels dangerous.
so
And
dangerous.
sure enough, day one, when I was writing furiously, it was all about a divine mother, a divine feminine. Day one, straight out the floodgates. I was like, oh, here we go. Here it is.
Oh, Trisha, thank you so much for being so courageous in writing the hard stuff that we all need to hear. It's not about a right religion, a wrong religion. It's about truth and what we can connect to within. We know we have masculine energy. We know we have feminine energy. How can we get more familiar with that feminine energy, the ability to receive without having to do?
Yes, that.
Receive inspiration, receive guidance,
Mhm.
receive the identity of the knowing of our identity and our truth and our worth.
That. I mean, that's everything. It's everything. Life becomes a whole different energy from that space that you just talked about. Don't you think? Like, I imagine you've had a lot of that transformation in your own life where, I mean, this podcast, it's like being aligned, being alive, like soul alive
Yeah.
is a different energy.
Yeah. A lot of times it feels different. It doesn't look different
Hmm. Yeah.
because you're still serving, but it's from a place of cleaner energy, from desire to give love rather than to receive.
Mm.
Because here's the thing, if we are constantly doing the checklist to receive love or to receive worth or to receive a space to reside with God,
Yeah.
it's dirty energy. It's backwards.
It's
It's
so weird to find out that it's backwards.
it's backwards.
Yeah, it is.
When the truth is we already are that.
Yeah.
And then how do we operate? What actions do we take from that knowing? It's like the inside moving outward rather than
Yeah.
the outside moving inward.
Yes, like a deep trust in who you are. Like the subtitle of my book is Empowering Women with the Truth of Who They Are. That deep truth that they are divine, that there's no dam, there's no ceiling, there's no cap, there's no person in between them. And that was scary for me to say. And not everyone has received that well because it's you gotta have the caps and the rules and you can't and you can't and you shouldn't and you
Yeah.
And it's scary to be the rule breaker. It's scary to dance outside of the lines and the boxes because it's not always accepted and it's not always wanted, oddly enough. And it's not always, and listen, I was a people pleaser from the get go. So that felt very dangerous to me to be like, I'm going to do this thing. And everyone's like, you can't do that. So speaking to this felt as scary as jumping out of an airplane because of that.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of myself for saying it.
I'm proud of you for doing it. I'm proud of you for walking it. What would you say helped you walk through those hard places? Because I'm just thinking about listeners that maybe find themselves in that space. This no longer fits. Maybe it's a religion, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's some belief that they've once had. What advice would you give for them walking through those moments?
I will say it's not easy because the mind is going to argue and the mind wants to keep you safe. So the mind is going to be like, no, 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 no. But I think for what you and I did, it's tapping into the heart space, it's tapping into the soul space. And that can feel tricky when you're used to living from the brain and the conscious and the decisions and the up here, the spinning and the anxiety. It can be tricky to drop into the heart because a lot of people are like, but how? How do you do that? What does that look like?
Yeah.
And for me, it is stillness because it's itchy. It's kind of uncomfortable. But
So how do you get still? What's your practice in getting still to quiet your mind? Because we can get
yeah,
still and we can like just lay
yeah.
on the couch, but then the mind still isn't still.
The
So what's worked for you?
Honestly, what's worked a lot of meditation. I listen to Joe Dispenza. It gets me out of my head because I can hear someone else's words. So my brain doesn't really have the space to talk. But
Okay.
it also helps me drop in because that's what he's saying to do. So it's like I can follow someone else and I can't hear my thoughts, but it is telling me to drop in. So I
Okay.
would say like a guided meditation is the easiest way for me and the practice so that then I can kind of learn how to do it myself, you know? So
I see it kind of like we're creating a road.
mm,
You see this jungle full of bushes and trees and everything, and it's the first time you're like trying to find the path. It's really sticky.
it's so sticky. Yes.
The more that we travel the path, we clear more things out. And then before we know it, it just becomes smooth. You don't even have to think about it. You just drop in easier
Mhm.
and you know how to get there. That's been my
Yeah.
experience. But staying with it.
I agree. That's why I like a guided meditation because you can follow someone else and guiding you to dropping in. And then you can kind of take the lead sometimes and do it yourself. Like you're saying, it's like, okay, okay, I've learned how to do this. Another thing that I was thinking as you said that was like how you can use your mind is is asking yourself questions and then listening. And that is not always easy either. But the brain is actually trying to help you. Sometimes it just also needs to know what do you need me to look for, and then I'll go find it. So we don't always tell it, hey, go look for this. We just let it spin. I'll ask myself questions and then I'll just listen. So I'll say, what do I need right now? What feels good to me right now? What feels right for me right now? And I ask it in questions. And whether it's my mind or my heart or my soul, I feel like I can get a clearer answer that way instead of like the knows and the programming running. I'll just tell
Mhm.
it to look for something that I actually want to find, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I'll
That
be
makes
like,
perfect sense.
what would my soul do in this situation? What if I didn't have limits? Would I choose that? Like, if I really believed I was divine, how would I act in this scenario? If I really thought there was no cap on me, would I marry this person? Would I choose this job? And I just ask really good questions that
Oh,
gives my soul space and it can find the answer that is aligned with me because I'm the way I'm asking the question.
that's really powerful.
So that's helped me so much because now I can play in the space of utilizing the power of my mind because it is powerful. But there's also the power of the energy in your body speaks really loud when you listen and ask good questions. It does speak. Your whole body can speak if you ask a good question.
Yeah, those are some beautiful suggestions. I love that.
Yeah, I love this.
How would you say, I'm just thinking like we have this innate need to belong. I had a lot of belonging and identity tied up within my religious structure.
Hmm.
How how did you navigate that? Is it the more belonging you find within yourself, the less you need it from people that you don't really belong with, but you just kind of fit in?
Yeah, that's a work in progress for me too. That one is very hard for me as well. It feels very, very dangerous to not belong. And I think it's because part of our survival brain knows that if we're alone, survival is going to be harder. I mean, if we have to find all the food ourselves and we have to keep our own self warm and we have to know all the things and build the house and nobody, we can't depend on someone coming or helping us or loving us. That part of our survival brain's like, we will die if we don't belong.
Yeah.
And I think it threatens that part that our brain's like, listen, you got to get along to get along because we got to survive.
Mhm.
And it'll be easier if people like you because if they like you, they'll help you. It's kind of that in
Yeah.
my brain, I feel like. But I agree with what you said. It's like the more you belong with you and the more you literally like you, just liking yourself is one of the hardest things a human can do. And if you can do that, it does release some of the need for other people to because you filled the bucket yourself. And so your brain kind of registers it like, oh, we are kind of safe now. But
Mhm.
if you deplete that every day by being like, I'm not good enough and no one likes me and I can't do it, all the thoughts that just drain all of our confidence and our identity and our worth, now we are so desperate to get it from outside of ourselves because we need it. Our brain knows we need
Yep.
it.
Yep.
And I think the desperation, if women are in desperation, we make very bad choices for ourselves. Very bad choices for ourselves. And so it's like you said, it's like if you could already belong and like you, and you're like, I got me, I like me, I understand what I'm saying, I like my decisions. And it doesn't mean all of them. This is not a perfect thing. It just relieves the desperation. It relieves the need for outside people to like you. And that is a journey and that is tricky, but it can be done. It really can be done, and it's like just being nice to your own self is where you start. Just being nice. Just be nice.
Yeah.
And then it relieves that nervous system of like someone else has to save me from me because I'm the danger now.
Yeah.
That even answers the question, but so,
That does answer the question. What I hear you saying is start taking baby steps to the inspiration that you receive towards yourself.
yeah.
And like that when you allow your soul to lead and not make it make logical sense, you start to build self-love
Yes.
because you're listening to the soul. You're allowing the soul to drive rather than the mind that needs the approval of other people. But at that point, we've gone horizontal and we've lost the connection to God, the divine, our hearts, our souls, our truth.
Yes.
And then we do become desperate and need it from everyone else.
Yeah. Has that shifted like for you? I would say like how do you feel different from before writing your book to after and just having that experience? Do you feel safe?
I love that you are calling me out on this, Queen. No, because, okay, here's the thing. I went to Costa Rica a year ago in March
Yeah.
and I wrote a lot of the book. And then when I was flying home from Costa Rica, it was very evident to me that I was living a life that wasn't authentic to me.
Mm. Mhm.
And so guess what happened?
Mm.
I came home and made changes, and that looked like moving, ending a relationship. It looked like I was in the middle of a remodel, and I just like so much shifted.
Wow.
And then I stepped into a relationship that I learned a lot of really great lessons. And then I was like, okay, it is time for me to work on my health and build, and write in my book. And then I would step right back into another relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a year of end, begin, end, begin. But
Mm.
I finally think I'm like, I get it. I get it now. I get what you were trying to teach me. And my book has been calling me. So my book's not finished.
Mm.
My book, it's so funny because I'll have friends that will reach out to me and they'll be like, Cheyenne, your book really wants to be published.
Yeah.
Cheyenne, are you finished with your book yet? Like, my book is like a living being and it's visiting these other people.
It's like, hey, when it's done, you're going to love it.
Yes, but I've felt this resistance. My mind has gotten involved of like, my life doesn't look pretty. Who am I to write this book about connection?
Mm.
But here's what I realized, Trish. It's not about making it look perfect or pretty.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of who I showed up in those relationships as,
Mm.
regardless of the outcome.
Mm.
I'm proud of who I showed up, but the outside world, they don't see that. And I flip back into, because it doesn't look good, it's not right.
Mm.
But it feels really good here because I was authentic, I was loving, I was kind, I spoke truth. I
Yeah.
held the highest vision for them.
Mm.
So that's been a huge lesson over the last year that I've got to learn.
Yeah.
But I've gotten in my mind too. But the book isn't just about getting the book out there. It's about who you become through the process
Oh my.
and who you can share that with and then help, I believe.
Same. I believe that. And it is, writing a book is a death, I think, in many ways, of parts of that ego that don't want to be seen, or like it's not ready yet because it's not good enough, or my life isn't in a way that I want to put it out there and then be seen more in this space of endings or shiftings. I'm just thinking, like, because I've been on that ride too,
Yeah.
that resonates. Like, I had a lot of, it's so intrusive to write a book in some way.
Yes.
I don't know if that's the right word, but it's the part you take the mask down and you say what you want to say, how you want to say it, and it's part of your soul, which then feels, when are we ever ready for that to be available? I don't know. There's something that feels so interesting about that, but I love that you shared that because that's so real. And I very much relate. Nothing about it looked perfect, and that messed with me too. Like, my business or my coaching space or my blah, 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 blah. Like, it's not ready. It's not, blah. It's so
Yeah.
hard. It's so hard.
As we talk about this, every single person listening can probably relate. Like, we're all writing the chapters of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We're all writing a book.
Yeah.
And are we looking for the approval or for it to look perfect for everyone else? Or can we look at it and be like, I'm really proud of how I showed up. I'm really proud of who I'm becoming, and I'm not there yet. But man, I'm living in alignment more frequently than I ever have. I recognize when I'm off and I come back faster.
Yes, girl. Yes.
That's been a lot of the unraveling and the conditioning that I had of it needs to look perfect. And
Mm.
if you're controlling it, when we're holding on to that control, we can make it look perfect, but it doesn't feel good. It's
Mm-mm.
not natural and it's not authentic.
Mm-mm.
And we're not in surrender.
Right. The surrender and the trust. Woo.
It truly is a new way, learning a new way of being. And it doesn't need to look perfect to anyone else, but you get to be proud of it,
Yeah.
you know?
And what is perfect? I don't even, like, how would we know? Like, how would we even know if it was?
I think the closest thing to perfection is us living in our values. our individual values.
Yeah.
I think that's how to me, that's my guide. Am I living within what I truly value?
And it sounds like you're doing that with these relationships in a lot of ways. But it's like, is it the mind being like, well, if I show up that way that I like, it should work, meaning they should stay or it should turn out a certain way. And that's tricky too.
God honors our agency. So what? We're going to think we can't honor other people's agency? We're going to try to control it?
Right, right.
Isn't it so interesting?
Because we think if we could control it, it will tell us we did it right or a good job. If we can control the outcome or the other person's approval, like, hey, I love how you're showing up, I'm in. That would mean we did it right.
And it's
Those
not.
meanings, and the attachments to how it should go are so hard to detach from because then you really have to be present. You really have to be with yourself in the moment, trusting how you're showing up right then without attaching to how that's what that's supposed to lead to.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah. That I mean, you're doing that's also the work of a lifetime.
Oh, man. It's
Good
just
job.
it's such a beautiful ride.
It really
And I just truly think that when we live in the present moment and we can just soak it in, that
that's literally it.
that's it.
It's the magic.
And that's where yeah, that's truly where we can receive the inspiration. I was going to say how you were saying that you have the questions for your brain. Something that I've been practicing lately that really helps me is intentionally creating,
Yeah.
whether that's painting, whether that's like ridiculous dance moves in the kitchen, but
Yeah.
it's just like allowing myself to get in my body and out of the logical mind and creating space for that.
This
Practicing not
is
getting it
like
right.
loving to you. It's so loving to you to do that because I think love is allowance. A love is freedom. Love is let it be messy and I love you still. Love is like move your
Yes.
body and let it be so wonky and funny and free. And I'm not going to judge you and I'm not going to perfect it and I'm not going to shut it down because I love you. And so even like painting, right? It's like the mind wants to be like, no one would buy this. I'm not a painter. It's not pretty. But I think when you come from a place of love, that's what I hear is like you have a level of love that you allow yourself to do it because a lot of women don't even pull out the paper.
Yeah.
A lot of women don't even turn on the song because it's like, nope, 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 restrict, shut it down. Nope, because it's not
Yes.
going to be, I'm not a dancer, so I can't dance
Yep.
to music. I'm not a painter, so I can't get out the paper. But I love that you're like, I am worthy enough that I'm going to take an action and let it flow because it feels good to me and I want to play in this energy. That's a space that not a lot of women that I know do, even in that. So that's
Yeah.
really amazing.
You were talking about the God that you didn't know. Me, that is the divine moving through us into this creation.
Yes, so true.
And what if we could look at our businesses, our meals, our homes, our parenting more like this creation that gets to move through us?
Exactly. Like we are creators. And as a coach, I teach women like create your life because you are the ultimate. You are the creator. It felt so important to me because I saw women hit that ceiling that I had hit growing up in religion, but then in their marriages and then as a mom. And it just carried on because they never were told or taught. And different religions, doesn't matter, society,
Yeah.
that women could be a god. In anyone's minds, that feels very strange, and that can't be a woman? I'm sorry, what? So, creating little things also feels like my husband could do that, or I'll cheer on my kids in and I'll let them learn and grow and play basketball and gymnastics. And I will support my husband's career because he can create. And then I'll just like clean up after everybody and support everybody. And that's why it felt so important to me, because creation is our most godlike thing. It is our
Oh,
most joy. It is our most divine nature. It is where freedom and revelation and inspiration and everything comes through. And when
yes.
we cap it, we suffer. And so it's like just letting yourself freaking buy throw pillows. And you created a space, or you created
Yes.
this space or that space, any creation, and the allowance to do it. So it's how you create your own life that no one else can take, that no one else can decide, that no one can say no to. Like getting out a paper and painting on it. It's like no one can say no. And I'm going to see
Yes.
what comes through me. I'm going to be this vessel. I'm going to allow it. It's really just allowing ourselves, because I always wanted someone else to tell me I was allowed. Every time I got stuck, it's because I thought I wasn't doing it right. Like I didn't have a chapter heading title, so I can't write that chapter. I'm not writing this book linearly. Where do I start? How big is the font? And I would ask like Mindy or Kira, like, do I have to start at chapter 1? And they'd be like, start wherever. And I was like, oh, it feels so good. And I'm like, can I write it in like 20-point font? They're like, sure. They're like, start wherever, do whatever. And every time it was this liberation, this freedom.
Yes.
Like the first time in my whole life, no one was like, do it this way, do it this way, do it this way. You have to do it this way. You have to get a grade. You got to do it my way. And it was the one place that someone was like, I don't know, write whatever, however, as big as font as you want, start in the middle, start in the end, just write whatever comes through. I realized that it was the freedom, the allowance. I was still getting it from someone else,
Mm-hmm.
but there
Mm-hmm.
wasn't rules, right? So I've learned to take that into my life, where now I get to be the one that allows myself.
Where right now in your life are you wanting someone to give you permission?
That's a great question, because I'm always looking for it. I want the permission to connect with God in my way and let that be socially accepted and even praised. That would be fun. What
I
about
love that.
you?
I love that. I want someone to give me permission to hold large amounts of money
Hmm. Yeah. Like, Cheyenne, you should hold large amounts of money. You really
and do really amazing things with it.
I love that. You should. You have to. You're supposed to. Just kidding.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing that keeps coming up for me of like this worth thing.
Hmm. Money and worth, man,
Yeah,
really go hand in hand.
yeah. So I look at it like, ooh, what magnet am I subconsciously holding that I want to set down?
Yeah. What would it be?
And it's kind of like a fun game now. It's like, what's showing up in my life that I am holding a magnet to, but I don't really want to anymore? I want to be
Mm,
done with that.
I can think of a few for me. So many times I'm like, I can tell that I'm magnetizing that to myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Shifting it from something's wrong with me to I just want to set that down. You
Yeah.
know what? It's all choice, it's all frequency, and I choose to be done with that. I choose to be done with the belief that I'm not worthy of holding large amounts of money.
Yeah. Yep. Yummy.
And I can still have my health, I can still have relationships, and I can still live in all of my values, cooking my kids breakfast and taking them to school and still hold large amounts of money.
Mm.
I want someone to give me permission that I can have it all.
Yes, same. Like, and that it doesn't have to be hard in some ways. I know that it's gonna be, but yeah, I hear you. It's like, could someone just come in that's like important and knows and tell me that?
But I think it's interesting because when you were writing your book, it wasn't hard in the way of like the physical world. It was hard in the way of changing the belief of what it had to look like.
Yep. Like
Right?
writing it was so easy. I probably wrote 200 pages in 5 days. And then after I added some chapters, of course. Why was that so fun? I couldn't even remember. It didn't feel like I spent that much time even writing because we were like playing and going out to eat and we were spending time in the morning to connect and we were hiking and we were walking. When did I write though? Like it didn't feel hard. It's like time went away and that was so fun and easy that I almost couldn't remember when I did write 200 pages. I came home back to my routine, back to my family, back to all of the social constructs and the have tos. And I was like floating for a week and I felt it like pulling me down a little bit, like, now we have to do this. And now everyone expects that. And now it was like hard to come back into normal life where you're not channeling a book with God in the trees.
Okay, but why do we believe that couldn't be normal life?
I know. I don't, it felt, it was really hard for me because I felt like I didn't fit anymore. Like a weak Trisha in the forest channeling this divine message that was like poetic and life altering. Like my cells were different. And then I came back and I'm like, I don't know how to be both of these Trishas. Like, because it's like one feels familiar and kind of forced to be the old one, but the new one feels so changed that it's like, how do I merge them? How do, and it's scary because will my husband like this version of me? Because he married that version of me. And will my kids and will my mom? Like, my mom's not going to accept this very free, went with a medium to the forest version of me. And I felt like I would be rejected by neighbors and friends and people in my ward. And I would go to church. I'm like, I can fit. I can fit. I don't know if I fit. And it's scary because my whole life I tried to fit everywhere, everywhere, not even just somewhere, just everywhere for everyone. And when you change like that, you're like, who are my people? I don't even know where my people are because now I feel like I don't belong if they really knew me. Like I can pretend and I can wear the mask again. But if they really knew what I thought and they really knew what I did and they really knew how it changed my beliefs and God and freedom and all of these things that we're told that we can't have and we can't do, I would be exiled was my fear. No one wants this free woman that thinks anything's possible. Like she's not controllable, she's not obedient. She doesn't say yes to everything anymore. Like, who wants that girl? That's what I wrestled with massively coming back was like these two versions of me. I don't
Yeah.
know if you relate, but I would love to know if you do.
Well, no, I absolutely can relate, and that's why my life shifted so much over the last year is because I was like, I don't fit here,
Yeah.
but I couldn't pretend.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I just tried to pretend real good.
And how did that go?
It was so awful. I was like, I could do this. I know how to do it. I can do it. I've done it my whole life. Real
Once you
itchy.
know, you can't pretend anymore. It just doesn't work.
Trying, but it got real awkward. I really loved how you were like, yeah, we're just not going to do any of that anymore. I admire that where I'm like, that's okay. I'll play 2 chess games. They'll be fine. And then I'll just burn out. It's cool. I
Exactly, and that's
prefer
what
your
happened,
way.
and I knew that that was what happened because 'cause I'd done that before, and I was like, "I can't do that. My kids deserve better. They deserve a crazy mom rather than a dead mom."
Thank
I'm willing to put all chips on black over here and just go with the crazy.
it though, but you kind of have to like do that. I feel like soon after a transformation like that before the energy's like, no, I didn't foresee that. I didn't know what we were jumping into.
I had this really spiritual experience on the flight from Minneapolis to Boise, and I was having this experiential where I felt like I was being stuffed into a seashell
Mm.
because I wasn't claiming all of the truth of my life. Like I was coming back to a life that I knew wasn't authentic to me. And I could feel that energy, and it was a really hard thing. But I think most humans have those experiences where they they get an awareness and then they try to sink back into this smaller version of themselves.
Mm.
And there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
It's just the invitation for you to stand as all of you, as the authentic version of you. And you'll keep getting the same invitation until you start to claim
I agree.
all of you.
Which, how beautiful is that? That that's what the divine really wants, is really what we want.
Yeah.
Why didn't anyone tell me that? Just
Yeah.
that. Like, it's really that the divine wants you to want you, to be you.
Mm. Yeah.
It's like what you're saying. It's like the nudges to stand in your authenticity, the nudges to write a book, the nudges to end a relationship, the nudges to change is like always a nudge in your favor
Yeah.
to be more you. And it's not this like divine is like, you got to be more like this. You got to do what I want. You got to stop doing something that feels fun and good. It's like, let me keep helping you clear the weeds so that you can be most you.
Yeah.
And I wish I was told that as a little girl far sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah. When your book finishes, I think in the writing it and signing up for the adventure is like one version, and sitting with it and editing it is another version, and letting it go on Amazon is a whole nother version of yourself and allowance to be seen. I
Yeah.
don't know. For me.
Yeah, absolutely. There's all of these different versions, and can we love each and every one of them?
Mm-hmm.
For all of the listeners, like there's versions of you as, you know, the woman before you have kids, and then when you have kids, and then when you're an empty nester. Every one of these versions, but do you have a vision of really who you are and what you want to be and how you want it to look?
Mm-hmm.
And can you give yourself permission to step into that fully, unapologetically, boldly?
Yeah. And
Right?
and that's who I see when I watch your stories and what you share on Instagram or social media. I'm like, I get that sense from you, and I don't know if you know that, but like as someone that you didn't super know a ton before this, but I
Yeah.
see you showing up in authenticity. I see you sharing messages that feel aligned. I do. I really, really, really do. That's always a thought that comes in my head when you share. So I hope you know that as somebody watching. I'm like, that that's really what I'm always trying to help women as a coach. And I know that there's like not pretty parts, and I know that probably doesn't always flow easy and all of those things, doesn't matter. But like I'm trying always to help myself and other women allow that. Like you said, allow it
Yeah.
boldly and stand in it and free yourself of a lot of these things. And I see you doing that. I really
Thank
see
you.
you doing that.
Thank you.
So you have to know that.
It's not always that. It's sometimes in the fetal position and not getting out of bed and being like, holy crap, did I really repeat that lesson? You know, it's all of it. I think a lot of women don't know is that there are spaces that they can be held and be authentic and be celebrated in all of them.
And this is one of those spaces for me, like you reaching out to me because, it was only like a week or two ago that I was like, why did I write that book? Nobody cares. No one needed to hear that. Maybe only I needed to hear that. Like my book it started to spin out of like, maybe that wasn't for anyone, just the doubt of it. No one wants to hear about that. Nobody. This isn't. No women think this way. No one is noticing what I'm noticing. No one's feeling what I'm feeling. Like I just felt like my whole passion and message wasn't landing, or it didn't matter or something. I don't know. Just like 2 weeks ago. And here comes Cheyenne, who's met me one time a couple years ago. In that spin out, Like, it's not like we chatted. It's not like we talked about a podcast. It's not like we planned this out. Messaged me out of the blue and is like, I want to talk to you. I want to hear what you have to say. And that was a massive pattern interrupt for that spin. One person saying, I care what you have to say. And it hit me of like, Cheyenne, someone who's connecting with the divine. And I think the divine was like, hey, I think like Trisha could use a little interrupt. I think she could use a little like, hey, I want to hear. Without the agenda, without, and even you saying like, not even gonna send you questions beforehand. Like, I just want to meet in the presence. And that also is freedom for me. And so I'm saying that to all the listeners, just so they
Yeah.
know I'm a human too. You're a human too. But I do think that the angels, the guides tapped on your shoulder. And I'm so grateful that you heard that and that you thought of me, because I'm I'm trying to do that also for other people, but it's just nice to be thought of. And so when you
Yeah.
were saying like women need to know they have there is people, there is safe spaces, there is women that will hold you, and you are that for me, and you are that for me today. And I don't think you knew that.
Thank you. It's interesting even hearing you say that because I feel that way in the small town that I live in. Like, I don't think people understand what I'm about.
Mm.
They don't understand my heart. And I had a coach tell me one time, he said, Cheyenne, Jesus couldn't, like, he couldn't prophesy in his own town.
Mm.
They saw him as a carpenter's son.
Mm.
And I was like, wow, yeah, maybe we don't allow people to change,
Yeah.
or that change scares us. And
Yes.
it's okay. I'm not here to prove anything to anyone,
Right.
but we'll find our people. I do know that.
I agree.
So keep sharing your message,
Mhm.
Trisha.
Thank you. You as well, because I'm listening.
Yeah.
And it helps me.
So if there's one thing that you would say to a woman that is going through um, a, a change in her beliefs right now, what would you offer her?
I would offer her to allow the ride, kind of the roller coaster, when it drops and your stomach drops and you feel scared. It's like part of the ride. We go on roller coasters knowing our stomach's going to drop. We sign up for it. But because we signed up for it, when our stomach drops, we're like, woohoo, because we planned for it. So I would say have that mentality. If you're shifting a belief, it can be very disorienting and scary. But I would think of it kind of like a roller coaster that you signed up for, not one you've been strapped in that you didn't want to go on. Be like, I chose this. I chose to maybe ask questions. I chose to think deeply. I chose to tap into my heart. I chose to wonder, and I chose to maybe pray different, or I chose to think about something different. And this is the ride that I signed myself up for. I'm on it. So when my stomach drops or if something feels scary or it's hard to believe different for a minute, like the drops come back up
That's
and it
so beautiful.
smooths out, and it's just a ride. And rides are fun if we sign up for them and we know we're going to be a little scared and we know we can see that it looks a little scary. We're going to go upside down, and it can feel upside down to change a belief. Massively can feel upside down. Like we even said, a lot of our beliefs have flipped upside down, which for your nervous system can be like, "Ooh, ah." But if I think I'm on a ride, I can like kind of scream through those moments, knowing that like I'll come full circle, the ride will stop, and then we'll go again, you
So
know?
true.
And so take it like a ride because it's going to feel like a ride.
Yes. And
And
they say the difference between nervousness and excitement is just a couple deep breaths.
literally, like deep exhales, trust your intuition. Women need that. Women, we are so intuitive. It's wild, but we've told to not trust it. So trust it. Go on the
Mm,
ride. Listen to those tingles. Take a chance. Like Cheyenne and I did in very much our mess and imperfect ways, and very much with doubt and fetal position and crying, and all of that was part of these magical books. It was very human for both of us. It was very all the things. And so, but we listened and we took some action, and then we cried and we got scared, and we listened and we take some action and we cry and we, it's like it all be on the ride.
Yeah.
There is no perfect ride. There is no pretty one. There's no buttoned up, pretty looking ride. It's just you're allowed. Your beliefs should shift as you age. They literally should. Because if I still believed like I was 8 when I was 8, that would be so strange
Mhm.
as a mother.
Yep.
So like let things expand. Let them open up. And you're safe. The whole time you're safe. Really, you really are. Safe to wonder. You're safe to be curious. That's what I would
Yes.
offer.
Oh, thank you so much. There's really something that happens when you let yourself hear conversations like this, not just in your mind, but in your whole body. You start to notice what resonates, what softens, and what maybe even stirs something that you haven't had words for yet. And if that's happening for you right now, I just want to say you're not off track. You're paying attention, and faith isn't meant to be something you grip so tightly that there's no room to breathe. It's something that evolves. It's something that deepens, something that becomes more honest, the more willing you are to meet yourself inside of it. So if you're in a season of questioning, shifting, or redefining what God means to you, you're not losing your connection. You might actually be finding it. Thank you so much for being here, Trisha. And listeners, thank you so much for sharing this conversation with us, being here, being open, and letting this conversation meet you wherever you are. And if something in this episode stayed with you, don't rush past it. Sit with it, feel it, and let it show you something. Until next time, stay curious, stay honest, and connected to what's true for you. Trust your knowing. Take bold, courageous moves. Honor your energy and rise into who you're meant to be. Feel free to carry this alignment into every step, breath, and conversation. If today resonated, send it to a friend, because together we rise.